I want to get to the Joe Rogan thing because what's the big deal about that is I actually love watching Joe Rogan, even though it's a podcast, and I think most people do as well. And so Joe Rogan, his video is going on Spotify. This is what I think people just have not missed. So if Joe Rogan's exclusive video is on Spotify, Spotify just became a video platform. They already have the app, it's already the app on my home screen on my phone that I love. Then it's going to go on Apple TV. It's going to be everywhere. And it's not just going to be audio, but it's going to be a video platform as well. And so when you talk about monetizing with video ads, engagement, I mean, this puts Spotify in a whole different stratosphere. Their subscriber base is not that much smaller than Netflix overall for premium subscribers, yet their market cap is like 1/5 or 1/6, and they're growing way faster. So I think Spotify is in a game-changing position to not only reinvent the music industry, which they've been doing, but move into this podcasting game with original content, which is just going to drive more and more subscribers, and I think kind of have a halo effect and really make them kind of be a monopoly and run away with the table of this audio platform. I think Spotify is about to get re-rated from like, okay, this Swedish kind of music streaming company, who cares? Is this another Pandora? To wait, all of a sudden this is a YouTube Netflix competitor with 150 million premium users growing at 30%. This should be valued at 100 billion at least. Implying a $400 to $500 stock price in the next year to 18 months. That's kind of my philosophy. So that's why I position myself to get long the stock, to get long calls, which has been awesome. So the other big news that I wanted to talk about, so I think the video thing is huge. And the other big thing that Spotify acquired about I think it was a couple months ago, was The Ringer. So The Ringer is like a sports podcast or sports kind of broadcast network. And this to me is really interesting. The light keeps doing that. I'm trying to make it a little better. But The Ringer, this podcast that they acquired, Daniel Ek, when they made it on the conference call, said, I think we just bought the Next ESPN. Do you really think the Next ESPN is not going to be video? I mean, I think there's a huge potential for Spotify to start really dabbling with video, and it seems like the content they're making is right for video. I think Kim Kardashian's podcast video, Joe Rogan's going to be video, you're going to have The Ringer, all these sports highlights with video as well, super complimentary. And on top of that, there's the news today that just came out, Marvel and Warner Bros. Exclusive scripted content. That really does sound more like audio, but at the same time, like, they're also working on more new original content coming to Spotify. So, the pace of innovation here for Spotify to sign these deals, for be willing to make these bold investments in Spotify and original and exclusive podcast content, I think is going to cement them as the leader of this space. I think Netflix or Spotify here is really making a push directly at Netflix. And so the stock price is pricing in all of these advancements, maybe, but I don't know. I think Spotify is still trading at 36, 40 billion. 36, 38 billion, what they're going to do, like 8 billion in revenue this year. I don't know. I still think Spotify is trading at a much lower price sales multiple than Netflix, despite faster growth and despite a much longer runway for growth. So that's why I'm really, really pumped about what they're doing here. The other thing they did is Shane and Heath, I think I was just playing around with this on my phone. They already have a video podcast, episodes 28, 29, and 30. The Shane and Heath, huge YouTubers who Spotify dabbled with to put video with in the podcast. Do you think that's a coincidence that they partner with YouTubers to make their first podcast video? And if you go back, looking at Spotify, they announced video in like 2015 or 2016. They've tried to dabble in music videos. Like, this is something that's really been on the agenda for Spotify for a long time. They've really been experimenting a lot with video. And I think the undercurrent of all of this big podcast news is actually not that Spotify is tripling down on podcasts and all this, but it's that they're going to do video as well. That's like the big thing that I feel like people just don't get. And especially with Joe Rogan, the fact that you're still gonna be able to get clips on YouTube, but the fact that his exclusive video is only gonna be on YouTube. I mean, think about the Elon Musk video that Joe Rogan did. This has like 30 million views. This is massive, evergreen, iconic content library that is just so valuable. It's like the Seinfeld of podcast libraries. And I think they got it for such a steal if they paid under $1 billion or like under 200 million a year, frankly.